into southern parts, Tipton County, you may have gotten the alert to the warning there. It's extreme southwestern. Tipton does not include Munford or Atoka yet, but it likely will if this storm holds together. Although, Ron, it looks like, just based on the reflectivity, it looks like it's not quite as strong as it was just a minute ago.
No, and I tell you, I really see this just kind of becoming more of a heavy rainmaker for the most part, and I think that's what it was. We were likely dealing with what we call a pulse thunderstorm. It hit a little area of the atmosphere that gave it a little more lift. As a result, got some height, and that allowed it to produce some stronger winds, a little bit of hail. National Weather Service seeing that and then putting out the severe thunderstorm warning. But again, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning in play until 4:45. Much of the coverage area calm, mild, even a little muggy this afternoon. A lot of moisture in the atmosphere. That's translating to the showers we're seeing right now. And speaking of which, I want to take a closer look down south because we've had some heavy rain that has come on through parts of Coahoma and Tunica counties, even into Quitman County. Some very heavy downpours in those areas as the rain's been coming in. We've also got harvest going on right now. Not necessarily the greatest thing for farmers at this time because this does complicate bringing in cotton to some degree. Rain on top of an already a full cotton blossom is going to allow that to really just kind of stick and adhere to the plant itself, or the limbs and the stems of the plant, making that combine a little more difficult to get that off the plants. But the rain certainly needed for others around the Mid-South, and that's what we're seeing this afternoon, the showers coming on into play. And that one severe thunderstorm warning, again, it's going to go until 4:45 this afternoon, and it is for primarily Shelby County, a small portion of Tipton County, but it's really just beginning to make a move towards Millington. And right there over the radar site itself, as Spencer was showing you, about 48 strikes of lightning in that. In the whole cell itself, this whole area, we're looking at about 75 strikes of lightning right now, but still some indication that there may be some small hail falling with this. I think it is primarily heavier rainfall. I'm not even seeing anything right around Fraser, but at one point, that hail was pretty large just as it was getting ready to cross the Mississippi River, and that was about the time the Weather Service issued the warning for the storm. So again, it is moving off to the northeast and moving along at a pretty good clip. We're already seeing a little bit of an outflow boundary starting to form right here too. So folks that are right there around 385, Rosemark, you're going to get a gust of wind. That's going to be followed by some rain coming on through. But I think as we get to about 4:45 and maybe within the next probably 10, 20 minutes or so, the Weather Service may even consider dropping the storm or allow the warning itself, or allowing it to just expire on its regular time. But at this point, I don't see anything in there that is overly concerning other than the amount of heavy rain could create some flash flooding and possibly the strong gusting wind. We're not certainly dealing with a large hail event, and we're not dealing with a significant wind maker. But at the same time, this could take out some power in some areas. I'll tell you what, Spencer, what are you looking at over there? You've got the wind speed and direction. I'm going to see if we can find the MLGW power outage map and see what's going on around Shelby County with that.
Yeah, Ron, so I put the storm relative winds on the map. This is actually showing you the winds associated with the storm that include the movement of the storm. And right now I'm only seeing around 40-mile-per-hour winds. So that's well below the threshold for a severe thunderstorm, thankfully, but around 40 to 45 in portions of northwestern Shelby County. This is along Highway 51 heading toward Millington. So again, we're talking about maybe some tree limbs going down, that sort of thing, but I'm not seeing the actual winds that look as high as they could with a typical severe thunderstorm. So that's certainly some good news. However, we want to keep you guys advised that are in this area. Just kind of hang tight and sit tight inside in a safe place until these storms pass, just so you don't have to deal with the wind as you step outside. It doesn't look like there's as much of a hail threat with this at this point, but again, 30 to 40-mile-per-hour winds, likely the highest right now, maybe up to 45 or 50 in a few locations. And again, this is approaching Old Millington Road. This is Woodstock Cuba Road as well. So these are the areas just north of the Woodstock community that we are seeing this at this time. And again, a pretty good amount amount of lightning with some of this as well. So we're watching for some of that lightning, intense lightning in some of these areas, especially back toward the Oaklawn community, North Haven, down toward, again, Overton, and back really across the northern side of Memphis. This is north of Mud Island. But if you are in Millington, this is almost on top of you now. It's just to the southwest of you. You're probably seeing the dark clouds moving in as we speak. In fact, let me look at the reflectivity. And these storms look pretty ominous as they came in. We could see them on our Midtown High 5 camera, and they were really dark, and you could see a pretty substantial amount of lightning with some of these as well. So definitely seeing some intense activity with this. Now, as we take a look, I wanted to show you, there's the latest lightning strikes with it. This extends into eastern Arkansas, where you're not under any warnings right now. But if you're in places like Joyner, this is really just to the north of West Memphis. In fact, let me go a little bit further to the west here, and you can see this is really to the north of West Memphis right now. So West Memphis, you're pretty much in the clear, just some rain there. And we've got a few more storms down to the south of this batch that are going to continue to train across the area. Let's put this in motion here real fast, and we can give you an idea of where these storms are going. I'll go back over the past hour, and you can see how this cluster just kind of moves in and develops across northwest Mississippi, again moving through northern parts of Shelby County right now. But we have more storms along Highway 61 as you go down toward Tunica. So Tunica County still watching some of those storms down there as well. But as Ron mentioned, they'll probably let this severe thunderstorm warning expire early, because it looks like it is below severe limits for most of the all the variables that I'm looking at as of right now.
Yeah, and just moments ago, the National Weather Service even putting out on the chat that the winds look like they're dropping right around or just below 50 miles per hour. So winds are weakening with this, but it is starting to approach the radar site right there in Millington. So attenuation is going to be an issue for us. In other words, we're going to have heavy rain right on top of the radar site itself. It sometimes has an impact on the ability of the radar beam itself to get out and beyond that, so we get a better view of it when it's approaching or when it is moving away from the radar site, as opposed to being right on top, because the radar beam goes out like this as opposed to up and above on showing what's over it. So right now we're looking at primarily heavy rain, wondering if those rainfall rates are dropping on this system. Let's take a quick look at that, because there's still some very heavy rain associated with it, and unfortunately, there we go. Whoops. Tell you what, let me go back to this view. See if I can do this. I'm telling you, Spencer, sometimes I make things a little overly complicated. Tell you what, while I try to fix that, I'm going to let you take a close look. Did they adjust that polygon? It looks like.
Yeah, they may have peeled off the back side of it a little bit, but they have pushed it. Again, it goes into southern parts and southwestern parts of Tipton County. So this is the polygon warning that we're looking at right here. And again, it goes until 4:45, but we are currently at 4:25. So this storm likely not going to stay severe, at least for now. It's pulsing down, so it pulsed up earlier, and it's kind of going back down, weakening a little bit, but it's moving into Tipton County, so we'll keep you guys advised. If you're in Tipton County, just stay weather aware with this storm, because it is going to have some heavy rain, lightning, and you can probably see the dark clouds in the distance. I'm getting some video on from my friends on Facebook and Twitter of some small hail reports with these storms as they push through northwest Mississippi into parts of southwest Tennessee. So these storms definitely packing a little bit more of a punch. They had just enough heat to work with to really make them intensify. They've been mostly below severe limits, but this one pulsing up. And as we say, with any storm, expect the unexpected. So we always try to make sure you stay aware of what's going on out there. But if you're having to travel, if you're getting out in the next little bit, traveling Highway 51, going south, if you're coming south out of, say, Brighton, Munford, Covington, any of those areas, yeah, you're going to run right into these storms. So you may want to hang tight or delay your leaving, just because if you don't want to deal with some of this intense rain and probably some pretty gusty wind too. Ron?
Yeah, rain right in the middle of the afternoon commute, never a good thing. Again, that polygon's been adjusted just a little bit to take out Crittenden County, but still in effect until 4:45 this afternoon. Still a lot of heavy rainfall in there and some gusting wind, as Spencer was mentioning. I want to pull up the MLGW power outage map and take a look at that, because it doesn't take much wind to create power outages. So do we have that ready in the booth? All right, so they're pulling that up right now, and while they do, I'll remind you again, we have the severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to remain in effect until 4:45 this afternoon. So we'll see that remain there until 4:45. It is primarily heavy rain continuing to move on through the coverage area, and the heaviest of it just now beginning to approach the town of Millington. So here is a look at our MLGW power outage map right now. We've got 8,500, there are 69 outages impacting 8,500 customers. Can we show a little better view of the map itself? In Shelby County, there we go. You see those red boxes? Spencer, that's when it was coming across through the downtown area. And then right there along the Mississippi River, around 51, just slightly to the west near Fraser, north of the 240 loop. But you see in southwest Memphis, right there in the downtown area, that's where we're seeing the highest number of outages affecting 8,500 MLGW customers, 8,580 to be exact. And again, it has impacted primarily the western portion of Shelby County. There are parts of eastern Shelby County haven't seen a drop of rain just yet. I'm sure they would certainly welcome it, but as far as things go around the area right now, the rainfall itself confined to a relatively small part of the Action News 5 coverage area. Let's check it out. Let's go back to our first alert. Doppler radar, again, rain primarily along and east of the Mississippi River in West Tennessee, northern Mississippi along and west of 55. DeSoto County, you're getting some showers out of this. We are seeing some pretty good rainfall back into southern Mississippi County and into Crittenden County. That too is moving off to the north, but the one severe thunderstorm or aspect of this severe thunderstorm is right there in northwestern Shelby County, parked right over the town of Millington. Lucy, you're in this, as well as Egypt and Cuba, right there around Shelby Forest. And so that's where we're seeing the heavier precipitation, the stronger winds, and the greater issues with the potential for some flash flooding. Spencer, anything to add to this?
No, Ron, it looks like this is really just, again, like you said, heavy rain. It looks like they are going to extend this warning, keep it until 4:45. So they're not going to let it go just yet, even though we are seeing indications that this storm is below severe limits. Now, it is going over the radar. So again, like Ron said, we're not going to get all the correct data, because when any storm goes over the radar, right over it like this, it is hard for the radar to depict what is happening directly above, and that beam that goes out has a hard time as well. So we just want to kind of sit tight and see what this storm does. But again, until 4:45, and it's 4:30 right now, so we've got another 15 minutes for this warning. The worst part of the storm is going through Millington right now and the Little John community. It's moving out of North Haven. So North Haven, you're pretty much in the clear as far as severe weather is concerned now, and same with Bingestown and Phelps. But if you're in Caryville, Wilkinsville, Barrettville, you're not in the warning. Tipton looks like you're not. So Tipton, Rosemark, you're right on the edge of it right now, but we'll keep an eye on this storm. We'll see if they extend it. I don't think they'll extend the warning, but they are definitely going to keep it until 4:45. And these storms extend back into portions of eastern Arkansas, now moving into parts of southern Mississippi County. So out of northern Crittenden County, some strong storms there along the Mississippi River, Joyner and Wilson, these heading into your area as well. And we're still watching these storms down to the south. None of these look severe at this time, but certainly heavy rain, lightning, the main threat as these continue to train over the same areas. Again, some beneficial rain, Ron, in areas that are drought stricken right now. In fact, there's moderate drought conditions in these exact areas. I can circle it right here and show you this area is kind of the area that's been needing the rain. So this is certainly very beneficial for those folks.
And you know, the Mississippi River is near record lows. It was right around -8 feet yesterday. I think it's dropped a little more today, but we need rain farther upstream to impact the Mississippi River here. As a matter of fact, barges are already starting to line up as barge traffic gets backed up along the river as a result of the low river levels that extend all the way from the upper Mississippi River Valley down south into the Mid-South and all the way down to the Gulf Coast. River levels down around Louisiana are so low, we're starting to see salt water or brackish water back up into the river itself. But right now, let's talk more about the rain and the thunderstorm activity, because that's what we're dealing with right now. The heavier the precipitation coming down right there around Shelby County and starting to move into southern Mississippi County. I want to put a track on that, give folks in Mississippi County a first alert as to where this is going, because as this continues to move off to the north and to the northeast, that's going to bring some much needed heavy rainfall into your area. So Golden Lake about 439, moving to Marie at 450, Kaiser 504, Osceola 516, Luxora 529. We'll see it get into Ashport, Tomato and Blytheville between now and about 6:11 this evening. But the heavier storm itself, and Spencer, I do believe they just canceled that severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, they did.
It just went away, and now we're dealing with primarily rainfall that is coming on through with a lot of heavy rain, thunder, lightning, but we're not dealing with the severe aspect of this now, as it has fallen below severe limits. So with that, tell you what, we'll get back to Action News 5 at 4. Spencer, you're going to have a complete forecast for us. You want to give us a heads up on what you're talking about at 4 o'clock in the extended final days of summer?
Yeah, it is.
Summer is winding down.
It's almost done, but it's going to feel more like summer as we head into the weekend. We do have another chance for rain and maybe a few thunderstorms as well in the weekend forecast. I'll have more on that. We're tracking these storms. I'll have the latest on what to expect for the rest of this evening coming up in just a bit.